talk about today?
Well, Governor, there was this little vote over in the Senate today, 26 to 4. They decided not to advance a bill that would have possibly authorized the Clear the House, the Public Service Board, to take up the issue of a certificate of public good for continued operation of Vermont Yankee. They decided not to do that, and we were interested in getting your thoughts about that.
Well, it was a predictable outcome. As I said to you last week, the Senate is free to express its opinion. It has little practical or legal impact because it simply confirms the status quo. The current law is that absent an affirmative vote by the legislature, the Public Service Board is not authorized to consider, but it's not authorized to issue a certificate of public good. So it doesn't change where we were this morning. All Vermonters are concerned about the situation at Vermont Yankee, the tritium leak, and the issues of transparency that we've talked about over the last few weeks, and they need to be resolved. But this vote in the Senate and all the debate and consideration over the last few weeks is a little more than theater. And frankly, at this point, I hope the legislature will turn its attention to what they should have been working on all along, which is putting more Vermonters back.
On Vermont Yankee, how do you, if you were to advise Entergy right now, I mean, obviously they need to turn this around at some point if they want to get the legislature's clearance to go to the board. And what would you advise them to do or say or at this point?
Well, I've offered a few suggestions already. Find the source of the leak and fix it, and they certainly are working as hard as they can to find that. It's a tedious task because they're digging underground and they don't want to destabilize the infrastructure that's there. So it's like a mine shaft in the sense that they have to build some support structures to continue their exploration in the source. So it'll take a little time. But perhaps more importantly, they need to restore the trust that has been lost among Vermonters, among regulators and other public officials, and among the public at large. Their internal and external investigations have concluded, as I understand it, and they have they've taken some further action on that. But they need to get to a point where Vermonters feel that they are being transparent and straightforward with all of us.
Do you accept their conclusion that there was no intention to mislead, and it was just sort of a miscommunication, and that they have now apparently put 5 people on administrative leave and punished at least 6 other people? I mean, is that enough? Does that warrant rebuilding trust? Or just?
I guess I don't know the answer yet. The Attorney General's going to look at their reports and reach his own conclusion. I said after they took one personnel action a couple of weeks ago that it's hard to say whether this is enough or this next step is enough. We'll know it when we see it, when Vermonters have a level of comfort with the company.
So when you saw it today, though, was that knowing?
Well, I haven't seen the report.
10 more people.
Yeah, I just heard, I guess I think it's going to take a little more time.
Governor, speaking as an outsider
You don't
visitor
have to-
here.
you don't have to rise.
My handwriting is illegible even to me. They're going to break ground on a couple new reactors in Georgia soon.
Yeah, that's right.
South Carolina is likely, Maryland likely, Florida slightly less likely, Texas slightly less likely than that, but there seems to be some kind of nuclear renaissance underway. How did Vermont get to be, I'm not saying it's wrong what Vermont has done, but how did Vermont get to be so out of step with what's going on elsewhere?
I don't know that I have an answer to that, but your observation is certainly correct. Coincidentally, I was at the NGA meeting this weekend. Monday morning, we met with the president, who reaffirmed his strong commitment to nuclear energy as part of the solution to America's energy future.
Did he look you in the eye when he said that?
No, he looked around there. Yeah, I think he looked the Georgia governor in the eye because he just offered an $8 billion loan guarantee.
Right.
But he talked passionately, frankly, about how France and Japan are way ahead of the United States in terms of developing nuclear energy resources, and how he thinks it's critical as a low or zero emission source of power that is competitive economically. So it's ironic that at the same time the president is advancing a strong commitment to nuclear energy, that we're taking a step in another direction here.
Given the dire financial fiscal straits of the federal government, and do you think that an $8 billion loan guarantee for a couple of nuclear plants is a good idea?
Well, we're subsidizing other forms of energy, and it's interesting that some advocates of renewables say they're competitive. Well, sure they are, with federal subsidies. So this puts nuclear power on an equal, on a level playing field.
You're saying that the vote doesn't really mean anything. Do you not buy that it sends a message out there to businesses, to Vermont Yankee, to the employees?
Oh, sure. No, it sends a message, absolutely.
And is
Just
that-
saying from a legal standpoint, it
Uh-huh.
doesn't change the status quo.
Mhm.
And practically, it seems that the House wouldn't be.
Don't let him interrupt you like that, Terry.
Did you have more? I'm sorry.
You go.
Practically, it seems as though the House would probably not advance the bill this year because it goes to the Senate. And, so, I mean, is it a matter of wait till next year at this point, or how does energy turn this around in terms of really on a very practical basis?
Yeah, you asked that before, and they've got to restore that level, a level of trust that gives Vermonters enough comfort to accept the board issuing the CPG. That's why I asked for a timeout. We need time to have investigations concluded, to have some changes made before I have that level of comfort and before others do. I don't know if that's later this session, Dave, or next year. I guess theoretically, it could be early in the year after that, maybe less practical, but.
Although this
Or a special
legislature,
session.
even before the tritium leak and the revelation about the misstatements, this legislature is probably would not be rated as the most nuclear friendly in the country. And there were a number of lawmakers, I think, including Senator Shumlin, who were taking a dim view of Vermont Yankee even before all this stuff happened.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, what do you see as the chances? I mean, is it a matter of turning the place over completely in November, or how do they do this?
Well, I'm first of all, I'm optimistic about change in the complexion of the next legislature to some extent. But I think before the two incidents that have given us pause, I'm not sure the legislature might not have approved it, double negative. I think there was a chance that the legislature might have considered it favorably.
You said before the most recent?
Yeah, tritium and the misrepresentations. I know there's some who were opposed, but we had the comprehensive vertical audit that was quite positive. And it was overseen by some folks who were generally not supporters of nuclear power. So I think before we got to these two recent episodes, there was a reasonable chance the legislature would say yes.
But does it bode badly if you even lost a Randy Brock in that vote?
Well, I didn't hear any of the debate. I heard snippets reported to me by my staff, but one senator apparently said, basically, this is no for now. Clarifying the point I made, that this doesn't change the law in any way, and it can be revisited, so.
All right.
See what happens.